Fred here, welcome back to the Gear Obsession channel. In this episode, we'll be taking a look at the Enlan EW054. So what we're looking at here is a tactical folder. It's a flipper. It's new out of box, so it's still a little stiff. It could be deployed with either that flipper or the thumb studs. I'm not even going to attempt that. Well, there you go. But it is stiff. You got to give it a little wrist action. Has nice green OD green scales. G10, by the way. Steel liners, skeletonized. Really cool knife. I would classify this as a tactical EDC folder. So is it worth it? Well, it only costs 18 bucks, and I did provide a link below in the description box. $18 from GearBest. By the way, GearBest did send me this sample for review. One of the things I noticed right out of the box is that this thing is really tipping the scales at a pretty hefty weight. It's about 6 ounces. So that might be something that might disappoint some of you right off the bat. But if you don't mind carrying that weight, you're getting a lot for that weight. By the way, out of the box, here is the box. Let you take a quick look at it. Obviously, it is made in China. You're not going to get something like this for $18 made in most other places in the world. Start out with the construction of this. Again, G10 has a nice texture there. I'll let you take a look at it. It is a finely textured G10. Does provide some traction, but not too much. Open pillar design. You can see there the standoffs, the pillars, whatever you want to call it, held together with torx screws. Some people call them star screws. Whatever you want to call them. I don't care. I'm easy. Pivot screw. Not a big fan of this deal. No adjustment on this side. Looks like you use a giant fat flat head on that side. I prefer standard torx or something a little more standard, but you know, hey, that'll work. Clip. Here's a disappointment. The clip is tip up right-handed only. So screw you 15% left-handers. That's basically what Enlan just said. So I wish there's no excuse. There should have been no issues whatsoever providing 3 holes right there. There's nothing mechanically or engineeringly inhibitive. I'm making up all kinds of words. It could have been done. So closed length of this knife is 4.9 inches. Just call it 5 inches. And again, 6 ounces. Deployment is via this flipper or the thumb studs. Now out of the box this is quite stiff, so if I didn't give it any wrist action, that's about as far as it's going to go, and it's already tearing up my thumb. So give it some wrist action, or just wear it in, play with it a little bit, maybe oil it, even though it is well oiled right out of the box, but it's stiff. Maybe loosen up the pivot screw a little bit, but I wouldn't do that right off the bat because it is nice and tight, no up and down, side to side play. Now open length, since we did just open it, as a matter of fact it's so big I'm going to have to zoom out just a bit, is 8.75 inches. So it is a medium to large knife. So if you don't like carrying large knives, then this knife is not for you, as well as heavy. So looking at the blade, the style is a straight back. I had to look this one up because I haven't reviewed too many of these, and that's because the back or the spine is straight. Gives you the illusion that that tip's raised a little bit, but there's some, you know, it's sort of like filed. I forgot what they call these now, but it's sort of filed down here but left sharp up here. So it gives it the illusion that the edge of the blade here is higher, but it's not. It's actually flat. So it is a straight back. It has a very shallow hollow grind. Goes all the way up here at the front or at the tip, but not all the way up back here, which is nice because if you have a clamp-on sharpening system, you do have some flats right here for it to clamp on and maintain the proper angle. You have a nice brushed satin finish, and the length of the blade is 3.75 inches. The blade steel is 8CR13 MOV, which is Chinese stainless steel comparable to AS8 and 440B. The lock is a liner lock, however, it is as thick as a frame lock. Look how thick that is. By the way, look, it's right on. That's exactly where you want your lock to be out of box. It is right, it's just behind the blade, totally. However, it has a lot of room to wear to the right, because these type of locks, as they wear, as the knife gets older, they start creeping over to your right. Now, if you look very closely, and it might be hard to see, but the washers, they're kind of different inside. One side you have brass. So on your left there is a brass or a brass phosphor brass, whatever washer, and on this side you have a Teflon washer, and you can see it a little better right there. This is typical for Enlan as well as Ganzo. Why they do it, I don't know, but it seems to work, so I guess that's why they do it. There's the blade stop right there. You have some nice jimping, both the liner and the scales both got the jimping treatment right there. It gives a place for your thumb to rest right there. You have a little bit of jimping on the lock here, some jimping back here, some here. So all this helps give you a lot of traction, because the texture on the G10 alone is rather shallow and not too aggressive, so it doesn't provide too much. Let's talk about ergos real quick. Out of the box, this doesn't look like a knife that you would say, oh, that's very ergonomic and would fit your hand fine. However, when you do get it in your hand, it does feel really good. I'm kind of impressed. It's kind of misleading. Feels very, very nice, as well as reverse grip. It feels really good in reverse grip. See how they got that angle there on the end? That gives your thumb a place to sort of just drape over. You don't have, you don't have like a high spot over here where your thumb got to come around. No, it feels perfect. It's very well done. Now you can see how the flipper, let's go ahead and close this again, starts out here when it's closed, and when it flips open, it ends up down here. See, I'll go ahead and do that kind of slow so you can see how that works. So what that does is it becomes a extension of the choil right here to keep your hand, or lack of a better term, a guard to keep your hand from slipping down on the blade if you stab. By the way, this blade, it looks like it's a really good stabber. And I'll let you take a look at the thickness, how it tapers there on the end. Now you do have a sharpening choil right here. It's actually almost big enough that if you have a little finger, you could use it to choke up if you're doing some fine work. But if you got big fat fingers, you're really playing with the edge of the blade right there. So I wouldn't recommend it. Really, you could get pretty close just by getting right about here. Looking at those thumb studs really quick, you can see how they have some grooves right there to help you gain some traction, especially when you have it closed and you're pushing off like that. So very, very nice. I did say or state that these are skeletonized, and you could maybe see the holes that they put right there inside the liners. I'll let you take a look in there. You can see a little bit of machining down there on the liner. So, you know, it's an $18 knife, so you're not going to expect perfection. I hope you don't, because you'll never meet those expectations. But very, very nice. So let's look at blade centering. Blade centering is spot on, no problems there. Lockup, no up and down, no side to side. Very nice, nice. Oh, blade retention. Now some people complain about blade retention. Now since this is very tight out of the box, that sort of helps keep the blade in there, but you can see it does snap back in there, but it requires you to get it almost all the way in there. But it does have a retention ball bearing. I don't know if you'll be able to see it down in there, right in there, and it goes into a little hole. You can sort of see it peeking out in the blade right there. That helps hold that in. Now it is a heavy knife, a heavy blade, so when this thing gets really loose, it may come out. But right now, because everything is stiff and that ball is in there pretty good, no problem with blade retention. So that's my experience here on this video. Now let's go ahead and check blade sharpness. Got my notes here that I'll sacrifice. Okay, we can't push cut, but we can slice with no problem. So it does come adequately sharp. Right there. See on my notes. But I'd say it does need a little bit of sharpening out of the box. We could see if it shaves. Maybe a couple of hairs, a little bit of skin, but not really that much. So I would say that it definitely needs a little sharpening out of the box. Go ahead and test the strength of the point here. Make sure that we have no heat treatment problems. Look at that. Just going in deep. I don't recommend you do this with your knife, but I'm doing it so you don't have to. And this is saw pine. I don't recommend that you pick it and do this stuff with your knife. But what I'm doing is I'm testing the strength. Make sure heat treatment was done right, and the point is intact. No problem there. So stood up very, very well. Now before we close things off, I'll go ahead and pan and give you a close look at everything. Go do a flyby that side. Come back. Give it a flyby in this direction so you can see. You can see pivot screw. Not the pivot screw, but you can see the retention hole right there in the blade peeking out. You can see the oil. I did not add that in there. That came oiled. Get a good close look at the clip. By the way, held in by 3 torx screws, and it is very, very stiff. So if you have really thick pants, this is going to get a death grip on there. So, and it's concealability, since you can't move it. Basically, that's how much it'll be sticking out of your pants. To be honest, I wasn't going to review this knife. I had a misunderstanding, lost in translation with the folks at GearBest about what to send, and I told them, hey, those are nice knives, but I don't think I really want to review those. I want to review something else. And they somehow interpreted it, and I, I could choose my words a little better, but they sort of interpreted it, yeah, well, I want to review it. So basically, I got the knives. They said, if you want to review them, review them. If you don't, you don't. So I don't have no vested interest in this. But when I went ahead and pulled this out of the box, and I'm like, you know what? I think this is worth buying for $18. I really like the build quality. It's all there. It's right up there with Ganzo, and I like Ganzo knives. And I just felt like, you know what? I'd be cheating my viewers, you, if I didn't tell you about this knife, because I think at $18 it is a steal. It is a very good knife. I like it a lot. I really do like it a lot. I'm not the biggest fan of the shape and design, and again, the ergos, you can't see the ergos, but when you get it in your hand, you can definitely feel it. It's surprisingly good, and it's definitely, if you're looking for a good tactical stabber, this blade can definitely do it. It's that kind of blade shape that lends itself to being a really good stabber, and you do have the extra shielding right here, protection. The flipper comes down and protects your hand from sliding down on the blade. So makes for good for camping and survival and things like that. It holds up pretty good. As a matter of fact, I was watching a video right before I shot this where somebody was batoning wood with it, and it stood up really good. So I am very, very, very impressed, and I do recommend it. $18. The link is in the description box below. Now, before this video goes into the can, I'm going to ask you to like and subscribe as always. However, I also need you to do something else. Apparently, Google, in their infinite wisdom, for some reason, don't notify folks, or doesn't notify folks half the time when you subscribe that I posted a video, or anybody else. It's not just me. I see a lot of people complaining on YouTube. I see it from a lot of the people that I watch. So what everyone is recommending now, and I'll go ahead and recommend in this video, is that you click on that bell that's up there somewhere. You see this little bell, and that'll notify you whenever there is a video posted by moi. Another thing you could do is in the links below, like if you go more, if you do the more thing on the description below, you'll see a whole bunch of websites, and one of those websites is gearobsessiondeals.com. Whenever I post a video, it posts to that site. So if you go there, you could subscribe in there. That's blog, one of my blogs. And you could keep up with everything right there. So sort of make it easy if you just for some reason like to watch my videos. But I hope I'm providing a good service for you. I sort of enjoy doing this. That's why I do it. I really do it for me more than anything else. But I figure, why should I keep all these great deals to myself? I like to share. All right. I hope you had a happy Christmas, Merry Christmas, or Happy Hanukkah, or Kwanzaa. I don't see too many folks talking about Kwanzaa anymore for some reason. Really strange. There is an interesting history. You should read it about Kwanzaa. You know, I respect every religion, so I have no problem, but I have no problem saying it. I'm not the PC Happy Holidays kind of guy, and if you don't believe in any of that stuff, hey, that's great. Just don't push. No one should push their thing on anybody else, if you know what I mean. Just be happy. Be happy. Unlike my little happy guy here. Maybe I can fix that. Let me see if I can make him happy. There we go. Now he looks kind of meanish. Alright, thank you very much for joining me here at the Gear Obsession channel. I really do appreciate every fan, viewer, subscriber, and especially you. And I hope you have a great day or evening. Take care. Bye.